Hello everyone. Welcome back to At Banky's Corner. I'm Sophie, and I'm so glad you could join us today. Whether you're relaxing at home, taking a break from work, or just in the mood for a fun conversation, you're in the right place. Today, Mark and I are going to share some of our funniest travel stories and maybe a few moments that didn't go exactly as planned. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark, and I'm excited to be here as always. Sophie and I love chatting about all sorts of experiences, and today's travel stories are full of laughs, surprises, and lessons learned along the way. Just sit back, enjoy, and join us as we tell these stories.
So Mark, do you remember that time you tried to navigate the streets of Venice without a map?
Oh, don't remind me. That was a disaster. I thought I knew where I was going, but apparently Venice has about 1,000 little alleys, and I ended up circling the same canal 3 times.
I remember. And then you accidentally stepped into that tiny cafe thinking it was a shortcut, and they almost charged you for a full meal you didn't even order.
Exactly. I tried to explain I was lost, but I think the waiter just smiled politely and pointed me outside. I swear that city is a labyrinth designed to confuse tourists.
And didn't you also almost get on the wrong Vaporetto? I thought you were going to Venice's version of a lost and found.
Yes, I jumped on a boat thinking it was going to Rialto, but it was actually heading to some tiny island I'd never heard of. By the time I realized, I was halfway to nowhere with only a sandwich in my bag.
Oh, and speaking of sandwiches, remember that time in Paris when I tried to order in French?
Yes, Sophie. That was hilarious.
I thought I said, I would like a chocolate croissant, please, but apparently I asked for something completely different. The baker just gave me a baguette and a weird look. I didn't even realize until you pointed it out.
It's okay. At least you didn't accidentally order a live chicken like that tourist we saw later.
True, travel stories are the best when something goes wrong.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of going wrong, do you remember our hike in Iceland? The one with the waterfall.
Oh, yes. That was incredible until you slipped on the rocks and nearly fell into freezing water.
I'd like to say it was heroic, but it was mostly embarrassing. And then you almost fell too, but you caught yourself on that tiny tree.
Yes, teamwork. But honestly, that hike was one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Even with the near-death experiences, I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Agreed. And then there's that time in Tokyo when we got lost in Shinjuku Station.
Oh my goodness, yes. That station is enormous. I think we walked in circles for over an hour trying to find the right train.
And we were carrying all those suitcases like we were in some kind of marathon. I'm still impressed we didn't lose each other completely.
Barely, and the funny thing is, we were asking for directions in English because our Japanese was basically zero. People were very patient, but I'm sure we sounded ridiculous.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much travel teaches you patience and humility.
And a sense of humor. You really have to laugh at yourself when things don't go as planned.
Exactly, and that's one reason why I love these travel stories. They're always unexpected, often funny, and sometimes a little scary.
Speaking of scary, remember that time in Rome when we thought the taxi driver didn't know where he was going?
Oh yes, he was taking all these strange turns, and I was silently panicking in the back seat. But somehow, he knew exactly where he was going. Classic.
Travel teaches you trust, and also that GPS isn't always your friend.
Exactly. So, listeners, if you've ever traveled, I'm sure you've had at least one moment like this: lost, confused, laughing, maybe a little frustrated. That's what makes travel stories so memorable.
And funny, don't forget the funny part. That's why we love sharing them. It's not just the places we visit, but the moments we experience along the way.
So, to all our listeners, whether you're planning your next trip or just enjoying a good laugh, we hope our stories gave you some smiles and maybe even a tip or two.
Absolutely. And remember, travel isn't about perfection, it's about experiences, stories, and laughter.
Well said, Sophie, and before we sign off,
don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to At Banky's Corner for more fun and engaging English conversations.
Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, keep exploring, keep laughing, and keep speaking English naturally.
See you next time.